Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Brad Piper and President of the Library Board of Trustees, and let me officially welcome you to your Kennett Library and Resource Center. This building opening celebration today represents the culmination of what is a more than 25-year journey. There's been a lot of starts and stops, but the most recent project came into focus under the leadership of Tom Sweat as he was library board president back in 2016. Since that time, it's been a bit of a relay. Tom relayed to Jeff Yetter and his board, who led the project until the beginning of this year. And I'm happy that the current board is able to take that baton and take this project across the finish line. So again, we are just so happy that you can join us today. We want to share with you the many features and offerings that this library has that I think you'll enjoy. Next slide. So, like any library, we have adult, young adult, and children's spaces, and we have the books and the media that go with that. But as you walk through our space, I hope you appreciate the welcoming environment that we've tried to create. The natural light that cascades in through our glass curtain walls. I hope you're able to sit in our furniture, take an easy, relaxful view of the library and take a read. For those interested in doing work, we've got laptop kiosks, we've got workstations, we've got laptop computer bars for everyone. So again, we want to be a welcoming environment for whatever your agenda may be within our space. But obviously, we're much more than just a library. We're a resource center, and hence this 110-seat spectacular auditorium that we're sitting in. So this auditorium will host big events like this, but I think you can also imagine the various presentations, TEDx talks, movies, entertainment, and other events that will be booked into this space. So this will be a true asset for the community. Beyond this, we have 14 additional meeting spaces. We have classrooms, tutor rooms, and multi-purpose rooms with the latest technology. For those with more of a hands-on bend, we have adult makerspaces, children makerspaces, and audio video studio. For those who like the quiet space of a traditional library, visit our Byard Taylor room and our reading and reflection room. And if anybody needs sunshine and a bit of fresh air, please visit our open air terrace, which is on the rooftop directly above us. So again, we are just so pleased to be able to provide all these features to you. But the one that didn't make the list that was probably the most requested by the community was parking, free parking. So you will find your free parking by our rear entrance and across Willow Street. We have over 85 spaces. Again, we want to make it easy and convenient for people to use our space. There's a saying that it takes a village, and I can't think of a better example than this $22 million building project. There's really not enough time to thank everyone who's made contributions to this project, but let me begin by thanking you, the community members. It's been through your time, dedication, and efforts to identify and tap resources that were the folks who were able to undertake this very big building project. Next slide. So we did need the professionals, and I think we got the cream of the crop. EDIS with Keith Leonard and Brandon Hughes were our architects. They came to us with experience of designing over 40 libraries. They worked with us to develop an exciting design, and that design was handed off to EDIS Construction. And under the leadership of Brian DiSabatino and his management team, and the boots on the ground duo of John Shanis and Mike Buck, they turned that design into the building reality that you see around us. Beyond that, Matt Eskridge is somewhere here today. I've seen him. Matt was our library advocate, our owner's rep, and he brought his experience to the project to help guide us through the many options that we made as we went through the design and the construction process. Beyond that, there was just a multitude of local companies and individuals who've contributed to the activity here. I do need to cite Joe Riper. Joe is probably the longest serving project member since before the year 2000. He assisted in our efforts to with land acquisition, land development, and the various business contracts. But everybody that you see on that list brought their talents and their expertise to make this building project a success. That includes the Register Associates, Triam, D.T. Taylor, Kevin Arnold Furniture Maker, Robert R. Pearson Incorporated, Bria Associates, and also very important in the project was Chester County Library System. They provided so much IT support as we looked at how do we tie in all these high-end tech features into the information highway. So again, we had the professionals. Beyond that, we had an army of, I'll say, passionate library volunteers that included the Capital Campaign Cabinet, trustees, new building committee, the library staff itself, and the Friends of the Library. So again, we had the pros, we had the passionate volunteers. What was missing? That was $22 million of funding. And so we did to undertake a very concerted, organized, aggressive effort to scout all the channels of funding that were out there. And I'm happy to say, and we're very happy to say that we've been the recipient of governmental grants, federal, state, and all the local municipalities. The various foundations locally as well have provided generous donations. But as I said at the beginning, it takes a village. And it's really the community members like yourself that have made this happen. Individuals, families, and companies have provided a big chunk of that $22 million building project. So at this point, we are that close to reaching our goal. And I am confident with this village behind us that in a very short period, we will reach that milestone. So with that, let me thank you again for joining us today in the celebration. At this point, I can only say the library is ecstatic to be operating in this building and furthering our education mission within this space and offering that to you. At this point, I want to introduce our library executive director, Chris Manna. Chris came to us in late 2021 with a wealth of experience, building experience, library technology know-how, and library management. He has made his imprint both on the design that you see, and I think it's very important for you to see and hear his vision for the operations, the happenings, and the events that will occur in this space. So Chris, I'll turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Brad. For today's purposes, while we are celebrating the new building, I actually want to take us back to the previous Kennett Library in 1961. Times have changed. Typewriters, not computers. One day, high-tech photo finishing. School dances look a little different up there. You can see appearance, the dress. People wore their hair a little differently. The old manual stamp checkout system, signing your name. Feels like you're signing your life away to get that library book. The librarian behind the desk shushing the crowd saying, shh, quiet, no noise in here. And cars, well, yeah, they looked a little different at that time too. But not only have times changed, so have the needs of our communities. And I want to talk a little bit about that today and why in 2023 this building means so much more today. 1961, you adjust for cost of inflation for a car. But $15,000 in today's costs. Today's car averages $48,000. A house adjusted for inflation in 1961 was $198,000. Today, that same home costs $416,000. Twice as expensive to buy a home today, even after you adjust for inflation. Education, here's the biggest part. University of Pennsylvania costs $13,000 for tuition, again, inflation adjusted in 1961. Today, $61,000 for that same school. When I read those numbers and the rising cost of living, it makes it really easy to turn inward, focus on our own survivals, and not how everyone else is feeling those exact self-same pressures. Those external pressures influence us to believe we are not capable of achieving more in our lives, for our families, and for our greater community. Those pressures make it a default that any time a new opportunity is presented to us, it's easy to say no. It's easy to say there's 99 reasons why this can't, it won't, and it shouldn't happen. It's obvious, because when you look around, it does seem impossible. There may be answers all around you, but none may seem apparent. Sometimes it's hard to find that light at the end of the tunnel. As I just said, there's 99 reasons why something won't work, but finding that one reason it will work is what defines success. This community, this board of trustees, the staff never gave in to those 99 reasons. This project was a 99% certainty to fail, and yet everyone here, many more not yet here today, said not only should it happen, but that it must happen, and because of that, you all found that one reason, that 1% pathway that ultimately led to 100% success. On behalf of the board, the staff, and myself, I personally want to thank you for the many years of fighting for this project. In return, I want you all to understand what your investment means for the future and how we plan to serve this community through new pathways of success. You hear that word pathways many times from me today. First, libraries are defined by the basics of reading and writing. Early literacy initiatives, including our partnership to bring all of Chester County the Imagination Library. For those unfamiliar with this program, every child in Chester County under the age of 5 is eligible to receive one book mailed to their home every month as part of their own personal growing library. The Kennett Library, along with AHA and the Justamere Foundation, partnered together towards the end of 2022 and are proud to provide this for the entirety of Chester County. Again, that is correct. The Kennett Library, AHA, and Justamere provide this for all of Chester County. The statistics up there tell your story. 85% of youth incarcerated are functionally illiterate. 70% of our inmates cannot read above a 4th grade level. And additionally, once you're incarcerated, there is a 76% chance you are going to end up back in prison. Once that cycle begins, it is difficult to break. Our goal here at the Kennett Library is to deliver literacy both at the library and in your home. A pathway that leads away from prison and towards your family, friends, and a productive life. Since November, the statistics don't tell the lies. 6,300 children have enrolled in our program, which now equals 22% of all eligible children across Chester County. Another area in which we excel in terms of basic literacy is our adult literacy program. By the way, this program is the largest in the county. It serves English as a second language, GED, and U.S. citizenship classes. These 11 classes a week in 2022 reached 3,111 adults to help these adults move their lives forward to their new path on their life. This is the literacy path at the Kennett Library. Everywhere you look, this room, what I'm holding right here, technology is in front of you. But just because technology is there doesn't mean you have access to it. It doesn't mean you understand it. Our partnership with Westchester University has brought a model where it makes it truly a collaborative process. Makerspace specialists work side by side with you one-on-one to craft and create your project together. I hope you'll take the time to go upstairs and see those 2 makerspaces. We have ed tech majors from Westchester University. We have local high school students and many makers from the area, all collaborating together to teach this community and encourage our patrons. Our learning model through our work with our 2 school districts and connecting curriculum directly to what they do in the schools encourages better prepared students, better prepared future teachers, and ultimately higher career returns to their future lives. As you explore today, I've got a few of the tech features of this building highlighted here. In this room in particular, Listen Anywhere technology. For those with hearing aids, you can now tap directly into our sound system so you receive a better listening experience. Reading aids. For those that are blind here through the ORICAM brought to us by the Lions Club of Kennett Square, you slip these glasses on and it reads to you in your ear everything that you hold in front of it. Our laptop vending machine, we have 2 of these in this building. They come preloaded with 3D printing, laser engraving software, the latest and greatest in audiovisual recording software. Now you might ask, I have no idea how to use that. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. One-on-one, think of the Apple Store. We're going to help you for whatever it is you want to do in your life. We are your pathway. Go inside our soundproof audiovisual recording studio, where next summer you're going to see a children's film festival launch. Each child will come in, they'll write the movie, film the movie, edit the movie. End of that summer, that movie goes right up on this 12-foot by 22-foot screen. Soon in this fall, you'll see a film series launch. Nights here for adults, daytimes for kids right here in this auditorium. And additionally, a Monday night maker series and Saturday day maker series. Kids and adults come in, create projects, do it as part of a team. You'll work hand in hand, one-on-one with our specialists. Again, in this library, you create your own individual pathway and road to success. I don't believe it's a stretch to anyone in this room to say we've been struggling to unite as a whole in recent years. Where you are sitting right now is at the heart of what we aim to do in civil discourse. TED Talks to raise the collective knowledge of the community, seminars on government and how to run for office and truly and effectively enact real change. And for all those controversial topics out there, a space to have real civil debate where the goal might not be to agree, but to understand and to find a mutual pathway forward. Instead of two divided pathways here at the Kennett Library, our goal is to have one joint direction forward together. Next slide, please. When someone has a heart attack, they are taken to the ER for treatment. But what if you didn't have to wait to have that heart attack to receive guidance? What if before you were dealing with type 2 diabetes, you were able to receive proper counseling on good nutrition? What if you were eligible for health care and you just didn't even know you had that option? All these questions are things we hope to solve here at the new Kennett Library. Partners like Penn Medicine, CACS, LCH, and Kennett Community Grocer are working with us to provide doctors, nurses, social workers, and other forms of health services right here in this building. Take a look at our small classrooms and semi-private smaller rooms. Our programming outlines are specifically designed to align with Chester County's designated needs for health improvement. Again, the Kennett Library opens our doors for our partners to help lead us all together on that future pathway. Our last point of literacy. Education does not stop at the GED and high school level. 14 of the top 15 growing professions, that's 78%, require more than a high school diploma. Besides Exton's campus on the northern part of the county, there is no other spot really for workforce development. This new Kennett Library will be the southern point for upskilling those seeking growth. With guidance from the Workforce Development Board, we'll offer classes beyond the GED to a continued upward trajectory for those seeking more skilled employment options. Local employers like Penn Medicine, Longwood Gardens, Tri-M, and Wisvis Bank all offer excellent employment locally, and we're working in our classrooms to prepare our students for direct entry into these organizations. That $7.25 to $17.87 wage is our goal. Minimum wage to living wage jobs created here at this Kennett Library. Close. I'm not sure how many Eagles fans are out here today. A few. So recently I heard a story about the mighty eagle and how it has no predators. The only bird that dares to attack the eagle is the crow. So what does that crow do? It attaches itself to the back of the eagle. It pecks at its neck over and over. What does that eagle do? It doesn't drop to the ground. It doesn't try and fight it. It doesn't try and go down to the ground and get in the dirt. No, that eagle spreads its wings. It flies towards the heavens, and eventually all that negativity of that crow drops off its back. Much like the mighty eagle, this library is soaring to the skies, and through that process, everyone who's ever doubted what we can achieve in this community is going to drop away. To those that say libraries are dead or just books on a dusty shelf, for those that wish to continue doubting what we are capable of, all I can say is look around. This building, all of you here today, all of our partners here today. As you all have shown throughout this many-year journey, while there may be 99% chance of failure, you all will not stop until you reach that 1% chance of success. To anyone out there wondering if there's any chance, any hope, or any pathway for their life, you need to know you are always welcome here at the Kennett Library. So normally this is the point with my sports teams that I coach youth sports, and we're about to leave the locker room where I ask them to all get together as a team and sing. I'm not going to ask you all to sing Fly, Eagles, Fly. But what I am going to say in honor of the mighty Philadelphia Eagles and kick off the football season is Fly, Kennett Library, Fly. Thank you for your attendance today. And now I'm turning the stage to the mayor of Kennett Square and Capital Campaign member, Mr. Matt Fetick.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is great to see you all here today. I'm hoping you're enjoying the library as much as I am. Mr. Sweat, I see you sitting up there. You kind of snuck into the corner, but Tom and Jeff and Brad and the entire library board and the county campaign, you did it. Congratulations. It is a huge landmark, but it has been years, a long time vision for the residents of this area to have a new library that would continue to serve. And it's really exciting to see that it came to fruition. It took a long time, but it's really, when I sit back and think about it, it's, as you drive into town, as you pull into Kennett to see this sitting on top of the hill, I believe it really becomes the shining light of what is yet to come. I will say that the Borough of Kennett Square is very lucky in that we get to host the library. But the library is a regional effort, and 7 other municipalities both contribute, provide resources, and are part of it. So while we get to, it's called the Kennett Library, we think about it, it really is the Kennett Regional Library, and there are other 7 municipalities that participated and continue to participate both in funding. So I want to make sure that we don't forget about those folks, which includes East and West Marlborough Townships, Newland Township, Pocopson Township, Pennsbury Township, New Garden Township, and Kennett Township. So for all the surrounding municipalities, thank you so much for giving and participating. We wouldn't be the benefit of being the host of the library if it wasn't for our partners in the region that really helped make it possible. I also don't want to forget to thank the Capital Campaign chairs who are not here today. When I think about them, they are really folks who continue to leave an incredible legacy in our region. First, Paul Redman, the CEO of Longwood Gardens. I don't know if Paul's still here. I saw him earlier. But Paul continues to make an impact in this area that most people will never know or understand. Mandy Cabot and Peter Kellerup, the founders of Dansco, who are now on a project in Belize, are not here today, but their reputation, their belief in this library, their drive, they're reaching out to friends and families to make this library financially possible. Today would not be possible without the 3 of them as well. So we can certainly give them a round of applause here. So many different people have reached into their pockets. Besides the government entities and the foundations, there are a lot of local families that have given. There are a lot of folks who have given from their even the smallest donation is what has made it possible. And the small donations, meaning small, meaning not the large, big governmental grants, but the donations that folks have sacrificed to provide are the ones that have made the difference, certainly over the last 6 months as people saw the library coming to an end and we kept hearing about these donations that were coming in. So if you're thinking about giving to the library and helping us finish out the campaign, please know that every little contribution, no matter the size, adds up and will continue to make an impact. The last thing I want to share with you today is that over the last 18 months, folks have mentioned to me on the street, Matt, why do we need a library? You know, can't we just get our books online? Can't kids just, what is the point of the library? And certainly you heard Brad talk about the resources here. You heard Chris talk about the different programming. And as I shared with people, like, why are taxpayer dollars going to this? Do you need that big building? Can't they get everything on a Kindle that they need? Well, sure, you can get books on a Kindle, but if you don't know how to read, what good is that going to be? If you don't have people teaching you if you don't have people teaching you English as a second language. And so I shared the vision that the library's goal was not just literacy, but the impact beyond it. The thing I got kind of known for saying was that the library is going to support the most vulnerable in our community. And I think that's true. But the step beyond that is that it impacts all of us. When somebody gets a GED, it allows it helps to grow our workforce. When someone learns to speak English proficiently, right, they're able to participate in the community in a better way. When we raise the workforce education and training and lift families out of poverty into a living wage, it impacts all of us. All of us get to benefit from those folks who are coming in for training and education and literacy. It makes the community a better place and it improves all of our lives. So as you think about the future of the Kennett Library and Resource Center, don't think about the folks that just come into the classroom. Every one of us is going to be a beneficiary through those training and education programs. I have no idea how we will be able to figure out what that ripple effect looks like, right? I don't know how we're going to measure it, but I certainly look forward to doing it. So thanks so much for the opportunity to be here with you today.
So the Chester County Commissioners were here for the groundbreaking, the topping off, and now they're here today for the grand opening. I'm thrilled to be able to invite them to come up and say a few words, and of course, thank them for their continued support.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, everybody. This is so great. I'm so excited to be here. As Chris said, it was just last July that we came for the topping off ceremony, which was really great. I had never heard of a topping off ceremony until that moment, so I appreciate that. And here it is just a year later, and look at this place. It's just incredible just walking into it. Did you know that we have 17,000 public libraries nationwide? That is more than the amount of Starbucks nationwide. So we're still doing something. I don't have evidence of this. I believe that here in Chester County, we have the very best of the best. You may not be able to borrow animal skeletons like you can from the Alaska Resource Library, or Halloween costumes like you can in Michigan, Arkansas, or Iowa. But here, there are so many great items and services that you can check out through this fantastic new community resource center. Items like museum passes, ebooks, audiobooks, information on your ancestors, jobs and career resources, maker spaces with 3D printers, sewing and embroidery, computers and free Wi-Fi, movies, art exhibits, naturalization classes, and of course, we cannot forget books, just how it all started. You know, when I was young, I grew up in Philadelphia and I lived near a very small library. And every Saturday we would go as kids and my mom would take us and we'd take out our books for the week. And we did that every week. But one day she said, we're going to go to the city in Philadelphia. We're going to take the bus down and we're going to go to the big City of Philadelphia library. Well, I walked in that library as a kid, and it was enormous, and there were books everywhere. And this library reminds me of that because it has that wow factor. When you walk in, what can you say? Wow, this is incredible. On a day like this, we all celebrate the completion of what has been imagined for such a long time. Those who researched, those who designed, who built, who raised the funds and oversaw this entire project. We appreciate each and every one of you. But in particular, I do want to thank the Kennett Library staff, the past, present, and future staff. Tom Healy, a former president of the New York Library, said, the most important asset of any library goes home at night, the library staff. The Kennett Library staff, and really the staff of all libraries in Chester County, have been amazing human search engines long before the internet and Google. And they will, as far as I'm concerned, always be irreplaceable. They will keep the Kennett Library and Resource Center not just vibrant, but valued and vital. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here. I thank every leader that has put this together. They have worked tirelessly. Thank you very much for having me. Now I'll turn it over to Commissioner Maxwell.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are we doing okay? It's not too hot in here, right? It's hot outside. It's cool in here. If we haven't met before, my name is Josh Maxwell. I'm on the Board of Commissioners with Marion here in Chester County, and I work for you. And it's a joy to be here this afternoon as we celebrate a wonderful opportunity to talk about the future of Kennett Square and public libraries. Marion and I have the great joy in serving all of Chester County, and we get to go to a lot of grand openings, ribbon cuttings, and things of those sort. Sometimes they're businesses, oftentimes they're a new fire hall, police station, or library. Rarely, if ever, is there more than 100 people standing room only in an auditorium ready to celebrate one of those public spaces, with another 100 or so outside walking around with their kids, their grandparents, maybe outside with their dogs. This is something today that is unique and special. We're not just celebrating the grand opening of a new library. I think what we're doing today is celebrating the culture in the regional Kennett Square area that is unique to this place. If you have donated your labor, your finances, your time, your skills to this, I want to thank you because this is going to help hundreds of people every single day here in Chester County, thousands of more through the next year, and hundreds of thousands in perpetuity to get the services that they desperately need and deserve. This building, as detailed as it is from top to bottom, from inside to out, is unique to what you would find in a billion-dollar renovation of the modern museum of art. The thoughtfulness that went into this facility and the programs being offered are incredible and unique. And the bar has been raised so much for public spaces in this county, in this region, in this country. I can't do anything more than to sing your praises and know that we admire the work that you all did here today. It is a privilege for both of us to be here to celebrate you, to learn from this impressive, long time accomplishment. And we look forward to seeing you all here back very, very soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, Commissioner Moskowitz and Commissioner Maxwell. Our last speaker today, our former board president, current Capital Campaign chair, and one of the true leaders and folks who really made this all happen, Mr. Jeff Yetter.
Well, I always go last, and that means somebody's stolen most of my talking points, but I'm still going to go through them, so sit tight. Before we get started, there's one person that really hasn't been gotten a lot of thanks, and that's this gentleman right here. You have no idea how difficult it's been. We had this whole thing planned out. He came in and said, wait a minute. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do this. And we've changed probably 30%, and it's all for the better. Chris has been a blessing. I'll never forget, we had a meeting with the Longwood Foundation, one of our very generous donors, and the president of the Longwood Foundation, we were talking, and he said, what's your vision? I said, well, I believe in Kevin Costner. Build it, and they will come. He says, no, it's the data, it's the data, it's the data. Well, that was our plan. We're going to build a building. He put life into this building, and this community is going to be forever thankful for that. Thank you, Chris. Many of you have had the pleasure, or maybe not the pleasure, of talking to me as soliciting funds. So I'm going to do a few other thank yous that have not been done. First of all, I'd like to single out the local municipalities. We have 8 municipalities. And I still remember, many of you have heard the phrase deer in the headlights, going in front of municipal boards and saying, we'd like you to support a new library. And they go, you want us to do what? And we had a formula, and I'm happy to say that all 8 stood up and all 8 committed to supporting this library. That is absolutely incredible. Together, they raised $2.4 million for us. So the next time there's a pothole and you're complaining to your supervisor, just remember they also help make this possible as well. Your local state representatives, from Tom Killing, who's no longer a state senator, to Senator Kane, Senator Comita, Representative Sappi, Representative Williams, and Representative Borough, who's no longer a representative, all helped secure $3.9 million in RACP grants and $800,000 in LSA grants. That's a big lift for them, and you got to remember you're in competition with every municipality in the state. And I was told if you get more than $1 million, you're lucky. So thank you to the elected representatives. I'm not telling you to vote for them or not vote for them, but they definitely worked for you. There were a few people that were mentioned briefly, I believe, by Matt, our capital campaign chairs. You have no idea what you have in Longwood Gardens. It is probably the most generous local nonprofit, has given us more support than could even be imagined. Did anybody here go to Patti LaBelle last year? That was given to us basically by Longwood Gardens and Matt. They donated the facility. They donated all the staff. That was Paul Redmond. Paul Redmond also went to his board and says, this is important. We need to give them a grant. And when the previous capital campaign chair told me that, well, I think Longwood will give us some money, I said, no, that's Longwood Foundation, not Longwood Gardens. No, they stood up. And they gave us $250,000. That's from Longwood Gardens. And I think they've got some other stuff going on too. If you've been out there, they're quite busy. So they've been amazing. Peter and Mandy, 2017 Citizens of the Year for the Chester County Community Foundation. I'll never forget when we asked them to be the honorary chairs. The first question they said was not why or what's in a library, but how much. And they have been absolutely amazing. They signed on. They've gotten us to the folks that we needed to get to, because quite frankly, many of the people that have responsible for this library will never come here. They don't need a library. They've got more books than we've got probably. They don't need the resources we have, but they're doing it for the community. And that is something that sorry, Barbara. That is something that is so important because this is for the community. Lastly, I need to thank 30 board members that I've had the pleasure of working with, and probably another 30 that preceded me. This has been a 25-year odyssey. Thanks to, is Joe Lordy in here? He's probably in the Byard Taylor room paying homage to Byard. Joe started this mess by telling us, hey, we need to build a new library. And they secured some land outside of town, and they worked on that for years. It wasn't 100% successful, but they kept the ball going. And finally, in 2016, when a new board was impaneled, fortunately, Mr. Sweat had preached, this is his pronunciation, not mine, collegiality. We had a relationship with the borough. They allowed us to buy this parking or sell this parking lot at a nice discount. And from that point, it has been an amazing structure. I'd say that probably 50 to 100,000 hours have been put into this building. We have meetings every week. That speech that Brad gave you is the shortest speech I've ever heard him give. Usually those meetings are 2.5 hours, and you're just numb at the end. But we know everything that's gone into this building. So I thank the board. You put in an immeasurable amount of hours. You've donated treasure to this process, and I thank you. I mentioned to you that this quest started in 1998, and it came up short once, and now obviously we've gotten to the point where it's really going to happen. It's happened. In 2019, we started raising money for an $18 million library. That was really fun, right up until March of 2000. And all of a sudden, or 2020, we had COVID hit us. And after we came out of COVID, this library was a $22 million library. Thank you, price escalation. Thank you, the shortfalls and the system of supplies. So that was a bit of a jump, because when we started this process, we were told we'd never raise more than $10 million. Well, today we're at $20.3 million. And I have to thank each and every one of you that has contributed. It's amazing. Now, is anybody here originally from Delaware? A couple folks from Delaware. You know, in Delaware, they pay for the libraries. In Pennsylvania, we pay for them. So again, thank you. One of the biggest challenges we have is explaining to people, Uncle Government is not paying for this. It's us. And this is your library. The good news is, for those of you that have been distracted, you've been at the beach, you've had other things to do, there's still time. We need 1.7 million. And I can tell you, I know some faces in this room that I will not mention that have donated more than once. So that there's been some confusion. That is allowed. If you want to double your contribution, that's fine. Many of us have done it, and you'll notice when you walk around the names on many of the rooms that people have stepped up and made this something that they believe in for their community. So I thank you all. Help us get to the end. And that's the first half. Can I have the slide, please? This is who paid for the library. I want you to see that's 68%, because private foundations really mean private individuals that have foundations. 68% of the money to build this library came from you. That's where the money came from, not from government. And we are the We are very thankful that for the donations we got from the government, but this is something the community wanted and the community made happen. Now, I would ask you all to do me a small favor. Is anybody here on social media? If you are, when you see the post, why do the citizens of Kennett Square spend $22 million? Tell them they didn't. It was the public. It was not the taxpayers of Kennett Square. The borough didn't pay for this. Kennett Township didn't pay for this. We all had a small part, but this was you. So take credit for that. You guys are the ones that did it. Now, last night I had my family must get romantic the same time of year because we all have the same birthdays. So this was yet our birthday weekend, and it commenced last night with karaoke, which is something you don't want to see. And I was going to sing "We've Only Just Begun" because that's really sort of true. The real lift here is maintaining this library. Our staff has gotten bigger, our expenses have gotten bigger, and the money to run this library does not come from the government. All of our municipalities contribute, that's true, but all told, this year, 62% of our revenue came from government. The other 48 or 38% has to be raised in the community. Those can be fundraising, those can be annual appeal donations. And I'm saying this because I encourage you all to stay involved. Come to our movies. The movies will be free. First run movies are free. Popcorn's only $25 a bag. We're not going to have popcorn. It's too messy to clean up. But seriously, stay involved. This is your library. All of the wonderful aspirational things that Chris has talked about are possible, but we need your support. And if you're not a pleasant subject, but if you're visiting your attorney and you're thinking about where to send all your money when you go to the beyond, remember us. And I'm not kidding. We get probably once every 3 or 4 years a very generous bequest. We just had one this year, and we had a donor that has actually sponsored part of this library and said, look, many years from now, when we're not longer here, there's a big bequest for you in our will. So we would appreciate that too, because this is for future generations. You've heard what Chris has planned for our adult literacy program and for the community. It's all because of what we can do here and with your support. So I thank you very much. Anybody wants to talk about how to donate money or things like that, I'm available. I'm always available. The good news is, though, for the municipalities, the Kennett Library Board of Bylaws only allows a trustee for 9 years. This is my 9th year. So you're not going to have to look at me. You're not going to have to look at me anymore. Thank you.
So thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. You're welcome to stick around the rest of the afternoon. The Lenape drummers will be in here giving a little performance. We're going to have the choir in here, a symphony in here, a theater group in here, all throughout the rest of the day. Please take a walk around the rest of the building. For now, I'm going to turn it over to Lenape.